Oh, we've waited so long for this. Coming back to series 2.
The world feels bigger this time.
Felt like coming home.
It's just so fun to come here working every day.
5262.
Thank you. Well, you find us on set in Manchester, filming series 2 of the smash hit sitcom Everyone Else Burns.
I think we've all been blown away by the success of series 1. I think we all had faith in it from the get-go because it is so unique. The comedy in it is really accessible, and there's the relatable aspects of each character, even though the world itself is so weird and wonderful.
It has all the sort of warmth and poignancy of a family sitcom, like something like Modern Family. But at the same time, it's really subversive and surprising. It's a warped family sitcom, and I think that's really appealing.
British humour tends to be quite niche, but to know that it's landed with audiences in America, for example, has just, it's been wonderful.
It's crazy to think, isn't it, if the chips had fallen differently, you could have been one of those students instead of harassing them with leaflets.
Am I done?
Yes. 300 hours of penance. Actually, you finished 45 minutes ago. I just let you keep going because you were clearly having so much fun.
So incredible to be back. We always knew that we wanted to revisit the Lewis family. We left things at the end of the first season with this open question of what does Rachel's life look like now that she's chosen her family over university.
With all the characters, I'd say we wanted to do something a bit different with them or push them a little bit further in terms of the journey that they're on. It's really sort of relationships under the microscope this time around, and you see that in all these different forms.
In series 2, we can expect to see a more emboldened Rachel chafing at what she's been put through by the Order, taking more steps to pursue her life her way. We can expect to see a pressure cooker of relationships coming together as arranged marriage comes in. We can expect to see a seductress pie adulteress trying to steal David away from his wife. And we can expect to see young Aaron launch an ideological coup against the bigoted and fascistic Elder Samson.
Our charter doesn't explicitly forbid gay marriage.
No, but I do. Next.
We already had a pretty stacked first 11 from series 1 with Morgana, Kadif, Al Roberts, Liam Williams. We've topped that up for series 2 with some big money signings. Sian Clifford, Olivia Marcus, Paddy Young. Everywhere you turn, there's a hot new comedy wunderkind. It's like we're the Manchester City of sitcoms, except not funded by oil money.
Fiona at the start of the series has seemingly got what she wanted, which is Rachel back in the fold, her family together in the Order. But there's a good dose of guilt and doubt simmering below the surface. Her relationship with David is really under the microscope. She has to confront things that she has really kept a lid on, and it's at times painful, I think, for her.
If you admit that arranged marriage is bad, you have to admit that your own marriage could be bad. You pull on that thread, and your whole relationship could unravel like a big, sexless cardigan.
David faces his greatest challenge yet in this series, a temptress named Maude, played by Sian Clifford, who for some reason is intent on seducing David and destroying his marriage.
Sian's character didn't exist in the scripts until after the read-through.
At the table read, it became clear that the character of Maude was going to do so much for what we're saying this season about relationships, about the strain between Fiona and David. And then when we discovered that we had Sian Clifford to play her, and we saw what her manner was like, we started writing to her, and we put in so much more Maude because she's become one of our most beloved characters. So that was a very organic process of realising this is what this series needs.
I think it's fair to say there was a certain frisson of chemistry there.
A lot of squash. Maude likes a strong squash.
She does, and she's not the only one.
Yeah.
When I knew Sian Clifford was playing Maude, I thought that it was absolutely inspired casting. I knew she was going to be sensational, and she did not disappoint. And getting to work with her because we knew each other before, it was just like being in the playground, really.
Coming into the show was super fun, and I've never had this experience before where I got to walk onto sets that I'd watched, which I found pretty thrilling. I told you about that, didn't I? I was very excited walking into the Lois household and even into the church and stuff. So
and here we are in Samson's office.
Here
this
we
is
are.
a big moment for you.
Yeah, it's a big moment. Woo! I absolutely loved the show. Kate is an old friend, so that's just been really nice to reunite, and this guy's all right, so yeah. Goodbye.
It's so special to have characters in a world that you've created be brought to life by all these people. You look at someone like Maude, who is sort of dressed with this kind of almost like utilitarian sort of efficiency, and there's something kind of very precise about how she kind of holds herself, and it colours, you know, the way that we kind of write those scenes.
She kind of pops out of nowhere all the time, and we wanted to really play on this kind of comedy horror element. So throughout the whole series, Maude actually wears the same thing, the same blue dress, but with different underlayers and different jackets and stuff. I wanted to do this because it felt like it, really added to that horror aspect, and to try and make her feel like she's a little bit of a figure of the imagination.
Every day I'm on the show, you're aware of just how much of a privilege it is to be working on it. Seeing these kind of locations come to life, seeing that you've mentioned like one thing to art department and they've taken it and rolled with it, and you sort of almost wish you could just kind of draw attention to kind of every prop that we have, really.
It looks like you're walking into a sort of like art installation, like a kind of experiential theatre piece, and it is like every little object's got a story behind it.
Today we've got incredible custom art. We're seeing inside the house of Elder Samson, and it turns out that he lives in ridiculous opulence, and he's got this custom art of himself as Christ and Moses and a grovelling Abijah figure. Seeing that art come to life, having just typed out a few action lines, is incredible, and we owe so much to the department for bringing that to the screen.
Is that the boy who deflowered you? He kissed me.
One of the most interesting things that people are going to be hoping to see more of, and I think what people really liked about season 1 is the whole will they won't they thing with Josh. So we join Rachel as she's heavy-handedly guided, let's say, not forced but guided into courtship, and she's encouraged to meet other people.
Jebediah doesn't really play by the rules. He seems to be a bit of a black sheep of the group, and he's kind of cool and is the opposite of everyone else there, so she's quite interested in him. He's the only one with tattoos. He's even got the one that says you shouldn't have tattoos as a tattoo. Leviticus 19, shout out Leviticus. Do not mark your flesh. Yeah, he's like the bad boy of Christianity, I'd say.
Didn't know he was so keen to get married.
I'm not, no. I mean, I've dabbled with a couple of Christian dating apps, you know, Adam and Eve dating, Righteous Relationships, Marriage Messiah, Prodigal Passion Project, Tabernacle Time, Devotion Motion, and Kringle, but I'm not keen, no.
Last season I was very removed and I wasn't very, involved. It was just me and Amy, so I was excited to kind of get to work with Al a lot, Arsha more. The introduction of Liv's character really made me laugh. She's hilarious.
What?
Hi, Josh.
The dynamic between Josh and Abijah is quite brotherly, I think. I didn't expect it when I first read the scripts. It really came at me as a shock. It's kind of that odd couple pairing that really works.
All right, shall we head home? Remind me, are you bed or bag tonight?
Oh, I think bed.
Eagle-eyed viewers might remember from Series 1 that Dillon and Ollie did actually have cameos in Series 1 as well, and I joked, I was like, are we going to pretend that Rachel managed to convince them to join the faith?
This time round, we're playing, I think Morgana describes us as pasty incels grown in a lab. We're terrible dates of Rachel's that she meets in her arranged courtship. I'm a man who's obsessed with making Christingles. This is exactly how I look on Bumble.
Their background is stand-up comedy, so it was great watching them perform. And I had to sit there genuinely holding my nose behind the camera, trying not to burst out laughing.
It just felt like a bit of an open goal, really. Like, you've got a kind of montage of dweeby weirdos that our main character is going to reject, and we sort of looked at each other and said, I think we fit the mould.
Our director was leaning on us heavily to appear in it more. He got a bit obsessed with the idea of the Christingle as a DJ character in the final episode, and he decided that that character should be DJ Christingle and have a big kind of Deadmau5 style Christingle helmet, and I had to push very hard against that. It was basically a PSYOPs campaign over about 4 days to get me to wear a giant Christingle, and I refused. You have to set boundaries.
A bit more weird, okay.
Working with the writers has been a nightmare. They drive me mad. No, it's been good. They're nice. They're both kind of brilliantly funny, brilliantly quick, always spotting great opportunities for alts and other lines or other ways to do stuff. So yeah, it's been great having them around. They do drive myself and everyone else working on it mental with all the late revisions.
Sometimes, because we've done so many iterations of these scripts, we've got an alt handy from a previous version. And sometimes we write alts on the day because we've seen a prop that we want to incorporate, or a delivery is not working or is really working and we'd like to lean into it more.
Jamie J. Johnson is so great. Absolutely love him. He's unflappable.
He directs in a very comedy-first way, which we hugely appreciate. Whenever we write a gag, we can trust that him, working with Ed, our director of photography, will do everything in his power to sell that gag.
Everything just feels kind of brighter and kind of funnier and like there's more energy, and he's a huge part of that.
Maybe we don't have quite as much coverage or as many shots as the previous series, but I think my brief was kind of like have a bit more time for performance and more time to play around with things on the day and keep it fun on set, which is nice for a comedy.
He's so fun to work with, and the stuff that we've done with him is hilarious. It's just so fun to come here working every day.
I think the reason it resonates with people is that combination of having a really specific world that maybe seems a bit alien, but within it, these characters that you root for, these people who have traits you recognise, who have problems you recognise, all together, that's quite a delicious combination.
Occasionally we get messages from people who've belonged to niche religious groups like the one portrayed in the show, and they would tell us about their experiences and tell us various ways in which they felt they'd related to the show, related to Rachel's story and her journey. To the people who know it best, it seemed to land, and that meant the world.
I'm really looking forward to audiences seeing Sian Clifford as Maude, and her and David's will they, won't they flirtation. Would he hold out? Is he strong enough? Time will tell.
Seeing all our characters in a new light and seeing them pushed in different directions and seeing, you know, them take you by surprise, hopefully.
The world feels bigger this time, and I'm excited for audiences to really delve in.
Watch it.